Yes? What is it?
I'm terribly sorry to bother you, but I forgot the key to my front door, so I had to ring your bell. I feel so silly.
In the bustling heart of Los Angeles, where dreams sparkle like the stars in the sky, a legend was born. Norma Jean Mortensen emerged from a whirlwind of beginnings, destined to leave her mark on the dazzling narratives of Hollywood's history. From humble roots, she soared into the limelight, transforming into the immortal icon we know as Marilyn Monroe. Her journey began amidst the shadows of foster care and the solemn halls of an orphanage. Yet, through the turbulence of her early years, she clung to a flicker of hope, believing that one day her light would outshine the brightest constellations. At just 16, fate intervened when she exchanged vows with James Doherty. But it was the chaos of World War II that paved her path to destiny, an unexpected encounter with a photographer from the first motion picture unit. Thus, her odyssey into modeling and the silver screen commenced, with an enchanting allure that captured hearts and a talent that knew no bounds. Marilyn ascended the ladder of fame with grace unmatched. From magazine covers to the silver flicker of cinema, she mesmerized audiences worldwide. Whether in comedy or tragedy, her performances painted a vivid mosaic of emotions, showcasing her versatility as Hollywood's beloved leading lady. Yet, beneath the glitter and glamour, lay a tumultuous inner world, a realm where shadows danced with demons and the weight of fame pressed heavily upon her delicate shoulders. Through personal trials, she emerged as a symbol of resilience, a guiding light in the storm. As we reflect on Marilyn's legacy, we're left to ponder. What drives her to pursue her dreams against all odds? How does Marilyn find the courage to persevere through the darkest of nights like she did? Marilyn Monroe, originally named Norma Jean Mortensen, entered the world on June 1, 1926, in Los Angeles, California. Her mother, Gladys Pearl Baker, born in 1902 in Piedras Negras, Coahuila, Mexico, to a struggling Midwestern family, made her way to California at the beginning of the 20th century. At only 15, Gladys, who is Marilyn's mother, married John Newton Baker, a man 9 years her senior, but their marriage was marred by his abuse. Despite this, they had 2 children, Robert and Bernice. In 1923, Gladys secured a divorce and sole custody of her children, but her ex-husband, Baker, defied the court's decision, absconding with the kids to Kentucky. Growing up, Monroe was unaware of her sister's existence until the age of 12. Their first meeting transpired in 1944, when Monroe was either 17 or 18. Following her divorce from Baker, Gladys found employment as a film negative cutter at Consolidated Film Industries. Her second marriage, to Martin Edward Mortensen in 1924, was short-lived, ending in separation and divorce just months later in 1928. In a surprising turn of events in 2022, DNA testing unveiled Monroe's true paternity, revealing Charles Stanley Gifford, a co-worker of Gladys, as her biological father. Gifford had engaged in a clandestine affair with Gladys in 1925. Monroe discovered she had 2 additional half-siblings from Gifford's previous marriage, a sister, Doris Elizabeth, and a brother, Charles Stanley. And in the midst of Gladys's unpreparedness for the challenges of motherhood, Monroe's early years held a glimmer of stability and joy. Placing her daughter in the care of devout foster parents, Albert and Ida Belenda, in the serene town of Hawthorne, provided a nurturing environment. However, this tranquility was short-lived as Gladys, seeking employment, had to relocate back to the bustling city, leaving Monroe in the Bolenda's care during the week and visiting her on weekends. In a bid to secure a home for her family, Gladys managed to procure a small house in Hollywood with the help of a loan in the summer of 1933. 7-year-old Monroe joined her mother in their new abode, which they shared with lodgers, the Atkinsons. Yet, their domestic bliss was soon shattered by Gladys's deteriorating mental health. In January 1934, she experienced a severe breakdown and was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. This marked the beginning of a tumultuous period as Gladys was committed to the Metropolitan State Hospital, where she would spend the remainder of her days grappling with her illness and rarely maintaining contact with Monroe. With her mother's absence and incapacitation, Monroe found herself under the guardianship of family friend Grace Goddard. Grace took charge of both Monroe and her mother's affairs, providing a semblance of stability amidst the chaos. In the years that followed, Monroe's life was a whirlwind of change. Initially staying with the Atkinsons for 16 months, her environment shifted frequently. This period may have been marked by mistreatment, contributing to Monroe's growing shyness and development of a stutter. In September 1938, Monroe finally found stability in her life when she moved in with Grace's aunt, Anna Lower, in Sawtell. Here, she attended Emerson Junior High School, where her talent for writing shone through as she contributed to the school newspaper. Despite her academic performance being average, Monroe's passion for expression blossomed. Living with Aunt Anna brought Monroe into a routine of weekly Christian Science services, adding a spiritual dimension to her life. However, due to Aunt Anna's declining health, Monroe returned to the Goddard's care in Van Nuys around early 1941. Transitioning to Van Nuys High School, Monroe's life took another turn in 1942 when Doc Goddard's job prompted a move to West Virginia. Facing the prospect of being separated from the Goddards due to child protection laws, Monroe took a drastic step at just 16 years old. In a move to maintain her newfound stability, Monroe married James Dougherty, the 21-year-old son of their neighbors, on June 19, 1942, shortly after her birthday. With this union, Monroe abandoned her education to fulfill the role of a housewife, a role she found stifling and unfulfilling. The monotony of domestic life soon took its toll on Monroe, who felt disconnected from Dougherty. Her marriage became a source of discontent, and Monroe lamented feeling trapped and unfulfilled. Despite the challenges, Monroe remained resilient, adapting to her circumstances as best she could. In 1943, Dougherty's enlistment in the Merchant Marine saw Monroe relocating with him to Santa Catalina Island. Amidst the backdrop of wartime uncertainty, Monroe's journey into adulthood was marked by tumultuous changes. In April 1944, as World War II raged on, Monroe's husband Dougherty was deployed to the Pacific, leaving her to navigate life on her own. She found refuge with her in-laws and took up a job at the radio plane company, contributing to the war effort in Van Nuys. It was there that fate intervened as she crossed paths with photographer David Conover, who was on a mission from none other than Captain Ronald Reagan himself. Despite her initial role at the factory, Monroe's journey took an unexpected turn when Conover spotted her potential and encouraged her to pursue modeling. Embracing this new opportunity, Monroe embarked on a journey of self-transformation, trading her factory job for the world of fashion. With determination and grit, Monroe carved a niche for herself in the modeling industry, gracing the covers of numerous magazines and catching the eye of talent scouts. Under the guidance of Emmeline Snively, Monroe honed her craft and emerged as one of the most sought-after models of her time. But Monroe's aspirations didn't end there. Fueled by a burning desire to conquer Hollywood, she took a leap of faith and signed with an acting agency in June 1946. Despite facing initial setbacks and skepticism from studio executives, Monroe's resilience paid off when she landed a contract with 20th Century Fox. Embracing her newfound identity, Monroe adopted the stage name Marilyn Monroe, a nod to Broadway star Marilyn Miller and her own mother's maiden name. With her sights set on stardom, Monroe immersed herself in the world of acting, eagerly absorbing every aspect of the craft. Despite early doubts about her potential, Monroe's passion and dedication shone through, earning her roles in her first films. Though her contract with Fox was not renewed initially, Monroe refused to be deterred, returning to modeling while seizing every opportunity to hone her skills behind the scenes. Amidst her determination to pursue acting, Monroe delved deeper into her studies at the Actors Lab, honing her craft and sharpening her skills. Despite facing setbacks, such as a brief role in the play Glamour Preferred, Monroe persisted in her quest for stardom. Fueled by ambition, Monroe ventured into the realm of networking, frequenting producers' offices and forming connections within the industry. Her association with gossip columnist Sidney Skulski and her willingness to entertain influential figures at studio events furthered her path to recognition. In a pivotal moment, Monroe caught the eye of Fox executive Joseph M. Schenck, who facilitated her signing with Columbia Pictures in March 1948. At Columbia, Monroe underwent a transformation, modeling her appearance after screen siren Rita Hayworth with platinum blonde hair. And in the vibrant era spanning from 1949 to 1952, Marilyn Monroe's journey in the spotlight took a remarkable turn. Following the conclusion of her contract at Columbia Pictures, Monroe returned to her roots in modeling. She showcased her versatility by starring in a commercial for Pabst Beer and posing for artistic nude photographs by renowned photographer Tom Kelly, adopting the moniker Mona Monroe. Unfazed by nudity, Monroe had previously collaborated with artists like Earl Moran, demonstrating her comfort with her body. Amidst this transition, Monroe's path intersected with Johnny Hyde, the vice president of the William Morris Agency, who became her mentor and lover. Through Hyde's guidance, Monroe secured minor roles in various films, notably catching the attention of critics with standout performances in Joseph Mankiewicz's All About Eve, 1950.
That's how you met me, in passing.
Eve, this is an old friend of Mr. DeWitt's mother, Miss Caswell, Miss Harrington.
Miss Caswell, how do you do?
Addison, I've been wanting you to meet Eve for the...
And John Huston's The Asphalt Jungle, 1950.
I mean, it wasn't really the...
Was it the truth?
No, sir.
You weren't with Emery, were you?
No, sir.
You were someplace else and you were not with him.
Yes, sir.
Despite her brief appearances, Monroe's talent left a lasting impression, signaling her evolution from a mere movie model to a serious actress. In a pivotal moment, Hyde brokered a lucrative 7-year contract for Monroe with 20th Century Fox in December 1950. However, tragedy struck shortly after as Hyde succumbed to a heart attack, leaving Monroe reeling from grief. Nevertheless, Monroe's star continued to rise in 1951, with supporting roles in 3 Fox comedies. As Young as You Feel.
Oh, thank you, young lady. I don't think it's necessary. I'm sure my suggestions are going to be carried out.
Oh, yes, indeed, Mr. Cleveland.
Well, anyhow, Mr. Cleveland, I want you to know I think your speech was grand. I felt real honored just to hear it.
Love Nest.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Scott. I brought you the rent.
Thank you.
Seems strange giving money to a man you know. I'll bet it does.
In case you didn't catch my name, I'm Ed Forbes.
Oh, yes. I've heard a lot about you from Jim.
And Let's Make It Legal.
How are things going?
Duh, you said you're going to do something about it.
About what?
That Victor McFarlane. My motor's been racing since I first laid eyes on him.
I think I can arrange for you to meet him.
Though critics often viewed her as a mere sex symbol, Monroe garnered praise for her performances, with Bosley Crowther of the New York Times lauding her as superb in As Young as You Feel. Under the guidance of head drama coach Natasha Leites, Monroe delved into her first major role in the low-budget musical Ladies of the Chorus, 1948, portraying a chorus girl pursued by a wealthy suitor.
I wonder who it could be.
Oh, probably some politician who's bashful or married.
Despite her efforts, her contract with Columbia was not renewed in September 1948, following the lukewarm reception of Ladies of the Chorus. In the midst of her burgeoning career, Marilyn Monroe's popularity soared to new heights. With thousands of fan letters flooding in weekly and accolades like Miss Cheesecake of 1951 from Stars and Stripes, she became a beloved icon among audiences. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association further recognized her talent by naming her the best young box office personality in February 1952. Despite her professional success, Monroe's personal life was equally captivating. She embarked on brief romances with notable figures like director Elia Kazan, actors Yul Brynner and Peter Lawford, and director Nicholas Ray. However, it was her highly publicized relationship with retired baseball star Joe DiMaggio that truly captured the public's attention. Yet, around these attentions and shines, Monroe found herself entangled in controversy in March 1952, when it was revealed that she had posed for a nude calendar in 1949. Despite the scandal, Monroe's strategic handling of the situation garnered public sympathy and bolstered interest in her films. The cover of Life magazine hailed her as the talk of Hollywood, and gossip columnist Hedda Hopper dubbed her the Cheesecake Queen turned box office smash. In the wake of the scandal, Monroe's films, including Clash by Night...
Where does he get all that energy?
I don't like him.
He's kind of exciting and attractive.
Don't Bother to Knock.
That's a pretty negligee.
I got it in Paris.
Staying long?
Where?
New York.
Oh, no. No, I'll only be here a few days.
And We're Not Married capitalized on the heightened public interest, solidifying her status as a leading lady in Hollywood.
Hi, honey.
Hi, darling. Hi, sweetheart. I'll see you later.
Come on, back up. Let's wait.
In her quest to showcase her versatility as an actress, Marilyn Monroe ventured beyond her sex symbol status. Under the guidance of acting coaches Michael Chekhov and mime Lotta Gosler, Monroe honed her craft while under contract with Fox. Her performances in Clash by Night and Don't Bother to Knock demonstrated her range. And in her rise to stardom, Marilyn Monroe's reputation took a turn, earning her the label of being difficult to work with, a reputation that would shadow her throughout her career. She struggled with punctuality, often arriving late or failing to show up at all. Additionally, she faced challenges with memorizing her lines and frequently demanded multiple retakes until she was satisfied with her performance. Monroe's reliance on acting coaches, first Natasha Lytess and later Paula Strasberg, further strained her relationships with directors. Her behavior on set was attributed to a blend of perfectionism, low self-esteem, and stage fright. Unlike her ease during photo shoots, where she felt more in control, Monroe grappled with the structured environment of film sets. To cope with her anxiety and chronic insomnia, Monroe turned to barbiturates, amphetamines, and alcohol, which only exacerbated her problems. Though her addiction didn't reach its peak until 1956, these substances became a crutch for her. Some scholars suggest that Monroe's behavior was also a response to the sexism and condescension she faced from male co-stars and directors, with biographer Lois Banner highlighting instances of bullying from directors. In 1953, Marilyn Monroe took Hollywood by storm with 3 standout film performances, solidifying her status as a major sex symbol and a top box office draw. The first of these films was Niagara, a Technicolor film noir where Monroe portrayed a seductive femme fatale, plotting her husband's demise, played by Joseph Cotton. Alongside her makeup artist Alan Whitey Snyder, Monroe crafted her iconic look: dark, arched brows, pale skin, vibrant red lips, and a distinctive beauty mark. Niagara pushed boundaries with its overtly sexual themes, featuring scenes where Monroe's body was barely covered, causing a stir among audiences. Despite protests from women's clubs decrying its immorality, the film resonated with viewers, earning popularity at the box office.
I bought 2 tickets for Chicago. Can I have a refund on one?
Sure. That's $12.50.
Monroe's allure extended beyond the silver screen, captivating audiences with her daring fashion choices. At the Photoplay Awards, she made headlines in a revealing gold lame dress designed by William Travilla for Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, igniting a sensation. However, not everyone applauded Monroe's boldness. Veteran star Joan Crawford criticized her behavior as unbecoming of an actress and a lady. But it was her role in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes that truly solidified her status as a screen legend. Based on Anita Lou's novel, the film showcased Monroe alongside Jane Russell as 2 glamorous showgirls on a quest for love and riches. Originally meant for Betty Grable, Monroe's irresistible charm and comedic talent quickly made her the star of the show. As part of the film's promotion, Monroe and Russell left their mark outside Grauman's Chinese Theatre, commemorating their place in Hollywood history. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes became a sensation, captivating audiences with Monroe's unforgettable performance of Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, which showcased her ability to captivate viewers with every move.
American?
Yes, except on my father and mother's side, they're Irish.
Believe me, son, I'm delighted about this. I've wanted to see you married for a long time. Anybody but that monster, Lorelei Lee.
In September, Monroe made her television debut on The Jack Benny Show, further solidifying her status as America's sweetheart. And in November, she graced the silver screen once again in How to Marry a Millionaire, a film that capitalized on her magnetic charm and comedic genius. Released in CinemaScope, it marked Monroe's biggest box office triumph yet, proving her enduring appeal in the face of changing entertainment trends.
No, I didn't have enough money for a taxi. I had to get the Chrysler people to demonstrate that new showboat for me again.
The one with the gold trim?
Was it gold? I didn't want to put on my specs with the driver there, you know.
In 1953 and 1954, Marilyn Monroe's star power soared as she ranked in the annual Top 10 Money-Making Stars poll and became 20th Century Fox's prized asset alongside CinemaScope. However, despite her immense popularity, her contract remained unchanged since 1950, leaving her underpaid and lacking control over her projects. Monroe's status as a sex symbol was solidified when she graced the cover and centerfold of the first issue of Playboy in December 1953, though she didn't give her consent. This move further fueled her fame, even though her earnings didn't match her status. Her efforts to pursue more serious roles were hindered by studio executive Darryl F. Zanuck, who favored her as a pin-up star. This led to tensions, culminating in Monroe's suspension in January 1954, when she refused another musical comedy role. To counter the negative press, Monroe and Joe DiMaggio tied the knot on January 14, 1954. They embarked on a whirlwind honeymoon, traveling across California and then jetting off to Japan. Monroe's visit to Korea, where she entertained U.S. Marines in a USO show, garnered widespread praise. Upon returning, Monroe reconciled with Fox, securing a new contract, a $100,000 bonus, and a starring role in The 7-Year Itch.
Hey, you've got air conditioning. How does it work? Put it on.
Sure. I got air conditioning in every room.
In April 1954, Monroe's film River of No Return, a Western directed by Otto Preminger, hit the screens. Despite Monroe's own criticism of it as a Z-grade cowboy movie, audiences loved it. It was the last film she worked on before her suspension.
I don't know. Can't eat or sleep.
Like an ache in the stomach?
Same thing, only in the heart. You'll find out when you get older.
How old are you?
That's no question to ask a lady.
Following her suspension, Monroe reluctantly starred in the musical There's No Business Like Show Business. Although the studio insisted on it as a replacement for another project, Monroe didn't enjoy it, and critics didn't either when it released later in 1954.
Donahue, Miss Vicky Parker.
Hello, Mr. Donahue.
Victoria Hoffman, Gallagher's.
Right.
Yeah, but he said Vicky Parker. Don't tell me you're married.
Don't tell me this is going to be another interview.
But amidst this fame, Monroe's personal life faced turmoil. The attention from the subway great scene led to the end of her marriage with Joe DiMaggio, who had long struggled with jealousy and control. Their tumultuous relationship ended officially when Monroe filed for divorce in October 1954, just 9 months after they tied the knot. In November 1954, after finishing filming The 7-Year Itch, Monroe took off for the East Coast with photographer Milton Green to start their own production company, Marilyn Monroe Productions, MMP. This bold move shook up Hollywood, signaling a shift away from the traditional studio system. Monroe was fed up with being typecast in the same old sex symbol roles and claimed Fox hadn't held up their end of the deal, sparking a legal battle that lasted a year starting in January 1955. The media didn't take her seriously, even poking fun at her in a Broadway play where her doppelganger, Jane Mansfield, portrayed a similar character starting her own production company. Setting up MMP, Monroe relocated to Manhattan in 1955, diving into acting studies. She sought guidance from Constance Collier and delved into method acting at Lee Strasberg's Actors Studio. Strasberg and his wife Paula became like family to Monroe, providing private lessons to help her overcome her shyness. Paula replaced Monroe's old acting coach, Natasha Lites, and the Strasbergs remained influential throughout her career. Monroe also began psychoanalysis, as Strasberg believed in confronting emotional traumas to enhance performances. This marked a significant turning point in Monroe's journey, as she continued to evolve both personally and professionally. During her divorce from Joe DiMaggio, Monroe's romantic life remained tumultuous. She found solace in the arms of actor Marlon Brando and playwright Arthur Miller. As her bond with Miller deepened post-divorce, tensions arose. The studio, wary of Miller's communist ties, urged Monroe to sever the relationship, but Monroe, undeterred by FBI investigations and political pressures, stood firm. By the year's end, Monroe and Fox inked a new deal, marking a fresh start. The 7-year contract, worth $400,000 for 4 films, granted Monroe unprecedented control. She could cherry-pick projects, choose directors, and collaborate with her own production company, MMP, on the side. It was a pivotal moment, marking Monroe's resurgence and newfound autonomy in Hollywood's spotlight. At the dawn of 1956, Marilyn Monroe boldly declared victory over 20th Century Fox, a move that reverberated throughout Hollywood. Shedding her old identity, she legally adopted the iconic name we know her by today. The media lauded her as a savvy entrepreneur, with Time hailing her as a shrewd businesswoman, and Look predicting her triumph to echo for years. Yet, within her professional triumphs, Monroe's personal life faced scrutiny. Her relationship with playwright Arthur Miller drew fire from some quarters, with voices like Walter Winchell casting shadows of doubt. Come March, Monroe embarked on a new cinematic journey with Bus Stop, her inaugural project under the groundbreaking contract. Portraying Cherie, a small-town songstress yearning for stardom, Monroe immersed herself in the role. From mastering an Ozark accent to embracing a less glamorous appearance, she ventured into uncharted territory. Directed by Broadway luminary Joshua Logan, filming presented its challenges.
For crying out loud, will you leave me be?
Well, ain't that your suitcase?
Yes, that's my suitcase. Grr!
Monroe's reputation for tardiness and perfectionism tested patience. Yet Logan's initial skepticism transformed into admiration. He saw in Monroe a unique blend of comedy and tragedy, akin to the legendary Charlie Chaplin. In the summer of 1956, Marilyn Monroe and Arthur Miller embarked on a new chapter of their lives, exchanging vows in a quaint courthouse ceremony, followed by a traditional Jewish celebration. With this union, Monroe embraced Judaism, a decision that would have far-reaching consequences, even prompting Egypt to ban her films. Their marriage, marked by Monroe's status as a Hollywood bombshell and Miller's reputation as an intellectual, stirred the media's curiosity, earning headlines like "Egghead Weds Hourglass." Amidst the whirlwind of personal milestones, Monroe's professional star continued to rise. The accolades poured in, culminating in a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress. In the summer of August, Monroe embarked on a new film venture with her production company, Marilyn Monroe Productions, MMP, shooting The Prince and the Showgirl in England. The movie, based on a play by Terence Rattigan, was supposed to be directed by Laurence Olivier, who also starred in it. However, tensions flared between Monroe and Olivier, leading to clashes on set.
Just dandy.
Oh, I see you have already served yourself. How remiss of me.
Oh, not at all. I prefer it this way.
Splendid. Well, cheerio.
Mud in your eye.
Following her return from England, Monroe took an 18-month break to focus on her personal life, dividing her time between New York City, Connecticut, and Long Island. During this period, she faced health issues, including a miscarriage and a brief hospitalization due to a drug overdose. Additionally, she bought out Green's share in MMP, ending their partnership. In July 1958, Monroe made her return to Hollywood to star alongside Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis in Billy Wilder's iconic comedy, Some Like It Hot. Despite initially seeing her role as another dumb blonde, Monroe took on the part with encouragement from Miller and a lucrative offer of 10% of the film's profits. However, the production of Some Like It Hot was anything but smooth sailing. Monroe's insistence on numerous retakes and struggles with remembering lines caused tension on set. Co-star Tony Curtis famously remarked that kissing her was akin to kissing Hitler due to the repeated retakes. Behind the scenes, Monroe likened the production to a sinking ship and clashed with Wilder over her portrayal of the character. Despite the challenges, Wilder ultimately praised Monroe's performance, recognizing her unique talent to deliver despite difficulties. Upon its release in March 1959, Some Like It Hot was both a critical and commercial triumph.
It's nothing. I just thought that us girls should stick together.
If it wasn't for you, they would have kicked me off the train. I'd be out in the middle of nowhere, sitting on my ukulele.
Monroe's performance earned her a Golden Globe for Best Actress, with critics praising her comedic timing and irresistible charm. The film's success cemented Monroe's status as a comedic star with unparalleled sex appeal, earning accolades from industry professionals and audiences alike. It has since been hailed as one of the greatest films ever made by various esteemed institutions. In late 1959, Monroe returned to the screen in the musical comedy Let's Make Love. Despite her reservations about the script's quality, she took on the role to fulfill her contract with Fox. Directed by George Cukor and with script revisions by Miller, the film's production faced delays due to Monroe's frequent absences. During filming, Monroe sparked headlines with her affair with co-star Yves Montand, garnering extensive media coverage and fueling the film's publicity campaign. However, Let's Make Love flopped upon its release in September 1960, with critics criticizing Monroe's performance as lacking her usual dynamism.
How's the geography?
Oh, heartbreaking. Did you know there's 4 million people in Haiti and the average wage is $25 a year?
Truman Capote had championed Monroe for the role of Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's, but the part ultimately went to Audrey Hepburn due to concerns about Monroe's impact on the production. Monroe's final completed film was The Misfits, directed by John Huston and written by Miller. Filming took place between July and November 1960 in Reno and the Nevada desert. The production was marred by Monroe and Miller's failing marriage, with Miller starting a new relationship during filming.
You could touch him, but he wasn't there.
Darling girl, if that was grounds for divorce, there'd only be about 11 marriages left in the United States. Now, just repeat after me.
Monroe struggled with her role, feeling it was based too closely on her own life and inferior to the male characters. Her health declined further due to gallstones and her severe drug addiction, leading to a week-long hospital detox in August. Amidst a tumultuous personal life, Monroe parted ways with Miller and finalized their divorce in January 1961. Following their separation, The Misfits hit theaters the next month, but failed to impress audiences and critics alike. Reviews criticized the film's disjointed character development and Monroe's portrayal, describing her as distant and difficult to understand. Despite initial setbacks, the film gained recognition in the 21st century for its classic status and Monroe's mature performance. However, her career faced another obstacle when a television project fell through due to disputes over the choice of director. In the first half of 1961, Monroe battled health issues, undergoing surgeries, and spending time hospitalized for depression. During this challenging period, she found solace in her renewed friendship with DiMaggio and a brief romance with Sinatra. Monroe returned to California and settled in Brentwood. The spring of 1962 marked Monroe's comeback as she received a Golden Globe and began filming Something's Got to Give. However, her health deteriorated, leading to delays in production. Despite facing criticism from the studio, Monroe made a memorable appearance at President Kennedy's birthday celebration, captivating audiences with her iconic performance in a rhinestone-covered dress. Monroe's trip to New York stirred controversy, exacerbating tensions with Fox executives. In a bold move that shocked the world, Monroe dared to bear it all, taking a daring plunge into controversy. As cameras flashed, capturing her naked swim in a pool, Monroe made history as the first major star to pose nude in the prime of her career. The buzz was electrifying, setting tongues wagging and headlines blazing. But amidst the whirlwind of scandal, Monroe's health faltered, forcing her to take leave from filming. As she battled sickness, the studio faced mounting pressures, struggling with the financial strain of another troubled production. In a shocking turn of events, Fox abruptly fired Monroe, slapping her with a hefty lawsuit. Yet just when it seemed like her career was in ruins, the tides began to turn. Fox, plagued by remorse, sought to mend bridges with Monroe, reopening negotiations for a fresh start. In a dazzling display of resilience, Monroe teamed up with renowned photographer Bert Stern for a legendary photo shoot that would immortalize her beauty for generations to come. With each click of the camera, Monroe emerged as a beacon of strength and allure, leaving an indelible mark on the world of glamour and fame. In the glamorous world of Hollywood, the 1940s marked a golden era for actresses like Katharine Hepburn and Barbara Stanwyck, celebrated for their toughness and wit. But as the decade turned, 20th Century Fox sought a new kind of star to captivate audiences. Someone to lure men back to the theaters. Enter Marilyn Monroe, envisioned as the successor to Betty Grable, the reigning blonde bombshell of the 1940s. Crafted primarily for the male gaze, Monroe's star image was carefully curated from the start. Yet behind the scenes, she played a pivotal role in shaping her public persona, wielding increasing control as her career blossomed. She masterminded publicity campaigns, cultivated relationships with gossip columnists, and meticulously managed her image. Often likened to the iconic Jean Harlow, Monroe embraced the archetype of the blonde bombshell, embodying stereotypes of innocence, sensuality, and allure. Her trademark breathy voice and playful demeanor only added to her mystique as she effortlessly blurred the lines between reality and fantasy. But amidst the glitz and glamour, Monroe remained enigmatic, her charm masking a complexity that few could decipher. In interviews, she deftly wielded wit and innuendo, leaving audiences both charmed and intrigued. In her films, Monroe typically portrayed the girl, defined solely by her gender. She started as a pin-up model, celebrated for her hourglass figure, and often showcased in scenes to highlight her curves. Her signature hip-swinging walk earned her the nickname, the girl with the horizontal walk. Monroe's wardrobe choices, often white to accentuate her blondness, and her penchant for revealing outfits garnered attention. Publicity stunts like wardrobe malfunctions kept her in the headlines. Media painted her as the epitome of the American dream, a rags-to-riches tale embellished with exaggerated tales of her upbringing in foster care. Her working-class roots made her seem more accessible, contrasting with Grace Kelly's sophistication. Despite Monroe's carefully crafted screen persona, audiences and critics conflated it with her real self, hindering her desire for diverse roles and business respect. Contrary to popular belief, Monroe was not dumb or fragile. She was a savvy woman who outsmarted Hollywood's studio system. As scholar Sarah Churchwell notes, Monroe's portrayal overshadowed her true intelligence and resilience. In the mid-20th century, Marilyn Monroe captivated audiences with her unique blend of beauty, charm, and wit. Biographer Lois Banner suggests that Monroe cleverly played with her image as a sex symbol, infusing her performances with subtle parodies and creating an iconic persona that balanced between Mae West's boldness and Madonna's defiance of gender norms. In the quiet neighborhood of Brentwood, Los Angeles, Marilyn Monroe spent her final months at 12305 5th Helena Drive. It was here, on the night of August 4th, 1962, that tragedy struck. As the clock struck 3 a.m., her housekeeper, Eunice Murray, sensed something amiss. Unable to rouse Monroe, Murray urgently called her psychiatrist, Ralph Greenson. Together, they broke into Monroe's locked bedroom to a grim discovery. The iconic starlet lay lifeless in her bed. The news of Monroe's passing spread like wildfire, capturing headlines across the United States and Europe. Speculation ran rampant, but the truth was grim. Acute barbiturate poisoning had claimed Monroe's life. Empty medicine bottles littered her bedside, revealing a tragic struggle with inner demons. Despite the whispers of foul play, the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office deemed her death a probable suicide. The world mourned the loss of a cinematic icon. Monroe's funeral, held on August 8, 1962, at the Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery, was a somber affair attended only by her closest confidants. Yet beyond the tears and tributes, whispers of conspiracy lingered. From murder to accidental overdose, theories abound, shrouding Monroe's demise in mystery. Decades later, the questions persist, fueled by books and investigations. Was Monroe's death truly self-inflicted, or was there more to the story? As the world grapples with the legacy of Marilyn Monroe, one thing remains certain: her memory will endure, immortalized in film and forever etched in the annals of Hollywood history.